What's going on, everybody? Author Stephen Walton here. It's early in the morning. I got the sun shining on everything around me, but I'm going to try and do a video. This is my first time using OBS. Thank you, Jeremy Griggs, for letting me know about this program. Trying to increase the quality of my content because I want to make sure that everybody who subscribes to me has a reason to come back and validates their subscription. So thank you, everyone that's been joining my channel. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today, I'm going to talk about this Twitter post by Sheev at Sheev66. I saw this a couple days ago and I read it and I really thought it was interesting. And she says how Kathleen Kennedy and her incompetent team of SJWs destroyed Star Wars. This is why Pablo Hidalgo has been acting so weird lately. Everybody that's been watching on Twitter lately knows that Pablo's been acting kind of weird. The SJWs have been in a tizzy. The Raylos have been going on crazy, attacking every woman in the Fandom Menace, chain blocking people. Ryan Johnson's been on programs unable to confirm his trilogy or not. I mean, it's a lot of weirdness going on. We've got reshoots for Episode 9 that are going into late October. This Episode 9 is going to be like right down to the wire. And with all of this, and the Bob Iger book, let's not forget Bob Iger coming out his elitist ass and just saying, yeah, we screwed over George Lucas. Ha ha ha, everybody does it. What a bunch of elitist mother. This post that Sheev left comes from an anonymous message board. I want to read this to you right now. Let's just take a look. This could be rumor. This could be, just take it with a grain of salt. But I think there's a lot of validity to it, in my opinion. Here's how it worked. Harrison worked with Beck on coordinating Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Star Wars Disney canon. Beck acted as a liaison between Hart, head at the time of the Lucasfilm Story Group, all of which was part of Kennedy's purview. Harrison isn't a Star Wars fan, nor was she familiar with it. Beck loathes the George Lucas Star Wars and has been a constant source of failure within Star Wars, including being the driving force behind Forces of Destiny, a feminist approach to Star Wars that failed spectacularly, and Star Wars Resistance, also seen as a tremendous failure. Hart was eventually removed because she actually viewed Star Wars as a vehicle for socio-political change, and she became such a toxic figure that even Kathleen Kennedy viewed her as damaging to her career and legacy. I believe Hart is still under contract as a consultant to manage her ability to speak out against Kennedy, Disney, Lucasfilm. Beck still works at Lucasfilm, but she essentially has no power whatsoever any longer. Harrison is likely to depart Disney after ROTR launches. The change from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge celebrating all of Star Wars occurred just after TFA launched. While TFA was JJ's baby, the Lucasfilm Story Group and Ryan Johnson basically took the franchise in a totally different direction, even before TFA had launched. This wasn't just limited to TLJ, but to all Star Wars properties. You can think of it as JJ lighting the fuse that made Star Wars bigger than ever, and then a separate team viewing that success as a means to advance social agendas under the belief that Star Wars was too big to fail. However, Iger was unaware of the internal issues at Lucasfilm in which political ideologues had taken over until production of Rogue One revealed massive issues. Because Iger was unaware of the situation, he believed TFA meant the public was head over heels for the new trilogy, and he immediately wanted to capitalize off on it. In doing so, he handed Lucasfilm massive power over WDI via the connection between Harrison, Beck, Hart. This meant that all of WDI's plans were essentially being run through those three, with theme park experts hand-tied by a story group piggybacking off of JJ's massive success, while they were actually entirely incompetent. When you wonder why there's a tiny cantina, why there's basically no OT characters, C-3PO, R2-D2, Yoda, etc., why there's no Star Wars music, etc., etc., it's because the land was not developed by people who knew how to develop a theme park expansion. By the time Iger became aware of the issues, it was too late to change direction without missing the expected Episode 9 hype window. Panic set in after TLJ's second weekend drop-off set in, and the realization that Star Wars was damaged and accepted by Solo. Still, the attendance results were far, far beyond the lowest expectations they had. Further complicating how bad everything had been is the fact that Chapek stepped in midstream and stripped out so many elements that could have mitigated the issues, mostly due to his belief that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge could be 2 rides and a retail space. Combined with the late game changes to move DHS Star Wars Galaxy's Edge location to save approximately $500 million, and you have the perfect storm for 2 expansions that are utter failures at their intended goals. Can you go into any detail about the development of the sequel trilogy? Was there a roadmap in place for the trilogy, or was it up to each subsequent amateur to continue the story in their own fashion? Like a bad game of improv. Is Lucasfilm rethinking their commitment to betting off in white in response to the Game of Thrones backlash? Thanks in advance. The reply was, JJ created a broad map for the sequel trilogy, though he left a great deal of wiggle room for subsequent directors. Per Kathleen Kennedy and Kerry Hart, however, Rian Johnson was allowed to jettison all of JJ's outline and completely write his own script without regard for the original binding narrative. Trevorrow objected to this, as well as the removal of Luke Skywalker from his finale, and after many protests to stick with JJ's original script, he was canned. JJ was brought back out of sheer panic as the firing of Trevorrow and Iger and Horn's first negative response to their views of TLJ came rather close to each other. Subsequent changes to JJ's revised Episode 9 script occurred this past January and again in May, after directives were given from the top to fix Luke Skywalker in Episode 9. This has resulted in reshoots all the way until September, with post-production going on until at least late October. This movie will be right down to the wire. As for Benioff and Weiss, I have no idea, because I no longer have interactions with Lucasfilm employees on a regular basis, and the contacts I do have would be extremely hush-hush about such a thing, given that Lucasfilm makes a habit of providing false info to employees in an effort to track leakers. Anybody who's been paying attention for the last 2 years, especially people in The Menace, and other Star Wars fans who have become disillusioned with the sequel trilogy due to the treatment of our beloved characters and our story, would I think would say that this sounds about right. There's definitely been some kind of a socio-political, ideological direction that's been going on due to Orange Man Bad and a lot of other things. I found this post very interesting because it pretty much confirms everything that the Fandom Menace and people who don't like the sequel trilogy and Disney's treatment of Star Wars have seen over the last 2 years or more. I wasn't one of them. I didn't realize it until TLJ. I still had hope. Disney bought Lucasfilm because I believed Disney was going to take Star Wars to new heights. To put that kind of power behind industrial lights and magic, what could have been? That's one of the it's one of the saddest things about all this, is what could have been, what they could have done with the expanded universe. This, fine, make it Legends, but then take the great themes from it and make something new, make something great. Give us Mara Jade, give us the Solo Twins, give us all these great characters that we're never going to see on screen. We're never going to see the original cast on screen again, ever. They had one chance to do that, one chance to make that right. And instead, Kathleen Kennedy, third wave feminist, decided to hire ideologues that were going to push their agenda into this franchise and basically destroy it. And just destroy the fan base without a care. You look at the way that Rian Johnson has treated fans online, the way that Pablo has treated fans online, the way that Lucasfilm Story Group has, with the fanboy tier mugs and all that other garbage. It's just completely awful. And so I really do believe this story. I can't confirm it. I can't say that that's all true, but it sounds pretty damn true, from my perspective anyway. And the SJWs, the Aurelos, and they've been acting like insane people online. They call the Fandom Menace, they call people that don't like the ideological direction of Disney Lucasfilm, plus 40-year-old sexist, racist, white, alt-right trolls and all that other garbage. I haven't seen too much heat come at the black dudes in our community. It's almost like they ignore the black guys, like they don't exist, which is pretty effed up in and of itself. But they really do come after the women in our community. They really do come after our ladies. You see it on Twitter, how they come after people like Mecha Random 42, Jesse Milestone, Anna that Star Wars girl's been dealing with all kinds of this new SJW tactic of blockchaining everyone and then talking shit behind their back as if that's going to silence our opinions, just to insulate their echo chamber. It's not going to work. All you access media, all you shills, all you SJWs, it's not going to work. You just help to bolster our position when you do things like that. And we appreciate it. My love to Star Wars Girl, and my love to all the ladies in our community who are dealing with this kind of harassment. It's strange that this weird fringe far left ideology that says respect women will definitely turn on and go after you girls in the most terrible ways and say the most awful things at a moment's notice if you don't kowtow to the narrative, if you commit thought crimes. So my love to all the ladies in the Fandom Menace. My love to everybody in the Fandom Menace. Let me know what you think about this posting. Thank you to She for putting it up, and like, comment, subscribe. Please do that not only for me, but do that for your favorite YouTuber, because it's hard to get the message out there the way the algorithm is, and it favors the Disneys and doesn't favor people like the Fandom Menace. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and try and be good to each other. Peace.